Testing 1, 2, 3. So we're starting here in 1 point perspective, and I've got to figure out how to get my mouse. So the 1 point perspective is where everything comes from 1 point. You have a vertical line, goes right down the center of your paper, and you have a horizontal line. So wherever you turn your head and you look, there's a vertical line. Now, if you're turning your body, it's a little hard to see, but if you actually face directly at something, then you have this vertical line, and then this horizon line would actually relate to where your eye level is. And so then everything comes from this place. This is 1 point perspective. Same thing, everything goes to 1 point, and all these lines then come off of it. And then they've added values and details. They've lit their pieces from, they've created, in one sense, a light source. So you have a dark and a lighter side. So the darks are both in the center. And so this is the basic do not do this anymore part of the lecture. So this is a way that everybody's been drawing squares and cubes ever since I was a little kid, right? All the kids that I hang out with on the playgrounds, they draw this. And basically this is an impossible shape. This is 1 point perspective. This is 1 point perspective. It's the same thing. You can do a lot of things with that, but it's not the way that the world really works for space. And we're going to move into 2 point perspective. And then the third one that's more complicated is 3 point perspective. So we're not going to really address that at all in this lecture. So here's what we looked at. So if you're able to see all of these lines that are parallel, then that's not true. That's not how the world works. The world works with convergent lines into vanishing points. So if we would actually be looking at this, we wouldn't be able to see anything behind it. We'd just be able to see this big square because all the other sides are being hidden behind it. Like that, right? So this is more true. This is true. More true in space. So then you can see 3 sides of it. 3 sides are hiding. You can see 3 sides. So here's an example, and what I want everybody to do is pull out their sketchbook and to be drawing actually each one of these pages that I show you, each one of these slides, stop and draw it. Stop and draw it. Stop and draw it, and then start again. So on this example is that it's best if you have a wide piece of paper, a really long landscape piece of paper. And the main thing is to get these, you have a line, we're going to call this the horizon line. That means if you looked out here as far as you could see, you would see the ocean. The ocean line would be, it's on the same horizon line as your eyes and everything else. Lots of times everything else is in between, like mountains and peoples and buildings. But if you could look around and see all the oceans, they would all be on your horizon line. They would all be on your eye level. So then we pick 2 points out to the very, very, very far as you can. Don't put them in close because it'll mess everything up. And this is our 2 point perspective drawing exercise. So the first thing you're going to do is you're going to draw a vertical line. Now it's really important that this line is in straight vertical. There's a couple different ways that you could do it. You could grab another piece of paper and lay the piece of paper down here on the edge of whatever your paper is and get a line so that this is a 90-degree angle. You could measure it with a ruler. You could use a triangle. The main thing is that these lines are going to be vertical. All of these vertical lines are basically going to be 90 degrees off your page. So this is 2 point. If it was 3 point, then only the center one would be vertical, and as it goes on this side, it would start to tilt these would start going down. That's 3-point perspective. Or if it was above the horizon line, it would tilt. They would all converge to another point. So with a straight line, what I do is actually draw a little dot here and a dot here, because this gives me the end of it. So I'm terminating my line, and everything is going to go to these 2 points. Every single thing. So the next line, so then I draw some really light lines that you don't really need to be drawing information back here because you're going to erase it anyway. The most important things are right here. I actually start when I have a ruler, and I start with a heavier line and then I go lighter. A heavier line and then I go lighter. Or I go a lighter line and then I stop, I come and I end up with a heavier line. Lighter line and a heavier line. So that also reinforces something that has dimension to it, is the things that are up close are more bold or more in detail, and as things go away they get softer. Because this is one plane going that direction, and this is one plane going that direction. And we haven't stopped it, we haven't terminated this side yet. So then that's the next thing, is to draw some lines this way. They're converging. Every single line converges. That's the main thing of this whole process, is start to understand that drawing anything in a three-dimensional space has its distancing lines converge. So now I'm going to terminate these. So there I terminate. So now I've ended them. I'm saying this is how big this is how big this is. Now the tricky part then is this geometry that's up top here, where these lines are going to actually cross. So this line is going to come to this point. That line is going to come to that point. So it looks like that. So go ahead and draw that, like try that. You're going to need a ruler, pieces of paper, and then I erase my edges, and there's my box. So if you want to review that, you can just back up on the video. So there's my cube in three-dimensional space. And because I can see 3 sides, 3D, 3 dimensions, 1, 2, 3. This would be to the right side, left side, and top. And the reason why the top is there is because it's below the horizon line and I can see down on top of it. So every single thing in the world works this way. If it's below your horizon line, you can see the top of it. If it moves up and it goes up, if it goes above the horizon line, you'll be able to see underneath it. So here's your square. So go ahead and draw that. These lines are not parallel. They actually converge. They get smaller and smaller and smaller. Now this vanishing point is way, 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 way out here somewhere. This one's way up here somewhere, right? That's how this cube is in space. And then similar enough, then these are the lines of your verticals. 3 planes. And then this one has light to it, and it's also got negative space, and it's also got a shadow. So it's giving us a whole lot of information here. Go ahead and draw something like that. So you make it up. So I picked my vanishing points, and I have my cube here, and this is more like on the wall. This isn't the horizon line. This is like the wall of the in the room or the space. That's why this one's different. And then notice how I've valued it. You know, one is when I'm putting a little bit of values on it. See how all the lines go in that direction? The lines are reinforcing the way that I want you to see this space, right? Because this is magic. I made this all up. This is a 2-dimensional piece. This is a flat piece of paper, and I've drawn on it with pencil. Now I'm starting to trick your eye. I'm making an illusion that there's a cube here, and I'm giving you all the information that your brain's going to say, oh, that's a cube. 3 sides, and then it's got light to it. So here's the lightest, like the sky is lighting it, and then one side is the next value down. I'm calling it 2. And you can see that my lines are kind of going in the same direction. So one of the things that I do is I use a smudge stick. I forgot to mention that. Like if you've got something to smudge, paper towel works great. What the smudging does is you get to control your whites. By controlling your whites, then you can control your whole piece of artwork, so that if you look, this is the whitest piece. Like everything's not white. This is the whitest. So then this is pushed down in the next value, and then the third value, and then I've even gradated it so some of the corners and edges go darker or lighter. And so because if I did it totally flat, it would flatten this space out.